Howdy to everyone watching this post, or well, yeah, everyone watching this post. Hope you're having a very good day. A couple of things that I want to get into just while we wait for people to put comments in and such things like that. The first off, there's a lot of people that are coming from my assistance service, which is great. Thank you very much for that. I'm all for helping people. One thing I will say, just in case you see this and you're planning on signing up for the service, it actually generally is better to not provide me that much of your old story. What has been happening over the past few days is people have been putting like massive paragraphs explaining the entire history, and then at the end saying, "So that means that I want this." It would actually be better for you if you just go straight to "This is what I desire." The reason being, obviously, I'm human just like you, so I will form opinions based on things. Now, I try to be as unbiased and general as possible when doing the scripting stuff, but if you send me an entire explanation that is basically step by step saying why this person is actually quite an evil individual, there can be that part of like me that will just instinctively go, bad person, for want of a better term, and then try to affirm through it. So it would just be better for you to just put, hey, I have this person, this is what I want. If it's absolutely dire, like we have two children together as part of the old story, then by all means let me know. But if not, it would just be better for you to just go straight to "This is what I desire to be true," make it happen. But that was just like a small thing that I noticed over the past few days. Um, Aiki or Aiki, I can never remember how to say it. Says, "Hi Matt, first time in your life. Well, thank you very much for being here. I hope you enjoy it. It is a little bit different today because it's a Monday. Usually I would do them on a Sunday. So there's a possibility that it'll be quite an empty live due to people probably still working and such things like that. I remember when I used to do the normal live streams, the sort of weekday ones would generally be a lot emptier because people are at work. But we'll kind of have to see how we get on. If there's not a lot of turnout, then what I'll do is I'll do another live stream this weekend instead as like just a make up for not being able to do it that the weekend just gone. But we will see. But of course, if any of you have any other questions or any other statements or anything that you want to say, by all means, just let me know. Got some big things in the works soon. Obviously, still working on the full Manifest Your Specific Person course. Admittedly, with the increase of the scripting service, that's kind of taken a little bit of a back burner, and I kind of do it when I get the opportunity to, more as opposed to doing it sort of daily. But of course, it's still in the works. Planning on making a lifetime accelerator group, I suppose is probably the best way to put it. I'm still working out the kinks of that, and I'm literally just talking about it now to fill the time while I wait for comments and questions. But that's essentially going to be the thing that I've mentioned over the past few weeks and months with the whole closer knit group with the plans that I have at the moment is every success story I get will either have a video or the screenshots posted in there, because I don't post a lot of my success stories. Actually, one of the reasons being I've always thought that success stories, while they can be helpful for some, they're also unhelpful for others. And I definitely prefer being the "here's information, now make use of it" kind, as opposed to "here's a success story, now use it as motivation." But with the group, there'll be more of that, and there'll be sort of like closer access to me and such things like that. So I'm obviously working out all the kinks on it all, but that's kind of my sort of upcoming plan. Aki says, "I am imagining a ghost suddenly appearing behind you." Yeah, when I saw that comment on that video today, I had to go look to see what he was on about, because he made it sound very like sort of mysterious. And when it was like a little floaty thing, and then you were like something about a ghost. I can't even remember what was said. I've had so many comments and so many things to go through, but yeah, no, a ghost can catch his hands, both of them. They're rated E for everyone. But nah, I don't actually believe in ghosts, believe it or not. They don't make sense to me. Vera says, "Hi, howdy, Vera. Glad to have you here. Hope you're having an amazing Monday." It's 4 people in the live stream at the moment. Like I said, I'm expecting this to be a bit of a smaller turnout due to it being a Monday, and people are still at work because my time zone, obviously, UK being ahead of the US, it's only 8 p.m. here, so it's probably like 3 p.m. for most people in the US. So I'm not expecting the biggest turnout, and if that is a problem, of course, I'll make up for it. I'm nothing if not fair when it comes to this stuff, so I'm not going to be like, "Well, that was your live stream, bye. I'll make up for it this weekend" or something. But we'll see how it gets on. Might be just that people will flood in a couple of minutes, and then massive conversations from there on. But of course, if any of the 4 people that are in here currently have any comments, questions, by all means, let me know. Doesn't even necessarily have to be manifestation related, just comments or questions, views on the world at the moment. What do you think about the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight? What else is going on in the world that people are talking about? I don't know. I don't actually keep up with world events that much. That's about as far as I know that's going on right now. Aki says you can always sing for us in the meantime. No, I'm okay. At the moment, I've had enough singing. Trying to we're on day two of sleep teaching our little girl at the moment. So a lot of singing and patting and stuff has already kind of consumed my day. So I'm all good, thanks. I have to get a light for the back there. The lighting when I'm doing these live streams is absolutely abysmal. Ah, not that one. Let me see if I can. Oh, I've just changed the color. Does that make any better? There we go. That's a bit better. I blinded myself. Rena says, hi, hope you're okay. Apologies for missing your last few lives. They've always been whilst I've been working. Glad to jump on today. Not a problem at all, of course. I mean, I do try to accommodate as many people as possible, which is why I usually do them on the sort of Sundays and Saturdays. So it's a shame that you haven't been able to access some of the sort of more recent lives, but I'm glad to have you here. Of course, any comments or questions that you may have, by all means, fire away. Vera says, I had to contact my SP today after 2 months for a work question. Is it bad? He didn't pay much attention, though. So this is a good question. The act of contacting your specific person, like the act itself, is never bad, quote unquote. Nothing is bad. It's only ever the perception that we put behind things. So if you're contacting them with a mindset of like neediness, attachment, hoping that it goes a certain way, outcome dependency, then of course you could argue that you're coming from a undesirable mindset in that situation. Whereas if you contact them from a sort of calm, collective, confident state, you're coming from a more positive outcome. Oh, sorry, a more positive mindset. So the actions that we take actually mean very, very little. It's the mindset behind them. Most people, and I'm not saying this is you, because obviously you said you had to do it for a work question, but using the topic of texting, most people reach out through fear, through anxiety, through lack, and then wonder why they don't get a desired result. The action itself, reaching out, means nothing. I reach out to Katie, I reach out to friends, I've reached out to people that I've been dating in the past before, stuff like that. So clearly, the act of reaching out isn't a problem. It's the mindset. It's either A, the way that you perceive the events to be, or how you perceive they're going to be based on your response, based on your action of reaching out. I've seen this before as well with people that I've worked with. There have been people that I've worked with that have been trying to work on sort of like building money. And they were like, yeah, I work like 60, 70 hours a week. And, it's doing all of this, but I just don't think it's going to go anywhere. And then they don't go anywhere. And then I've had other people that have been working, maybe 5, 10, 15 hours a week. And they're like, it's going great. And it goes great. So clearly the actions that you take mean very little. It's the mindset behind it all that matters. So as long as you're outcome independent and relaxed, you're all good. If you're coming from a needy, this has to work, this has to go this way kind of mindset, then it's a problem. Aki says purple. Yeah, I know. I didn't expect it to be purple. I don't know why I expected, to be honest, but yeah, it blinded me. Rena says, I've booked in some one-to-one coaching sessions with yourself. Of course, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. So hoping to delve into a few of my manifestation troubles. A question I did have is, why is it easy to manifest certain desires over others? I've managed to manifest a new job, money, etc., but my SP is something I've been struggling with. So I think the biggest indicator, and obviously I can't say for sure in your instance because you didn't actually sort of mention why you have those struggles, but more often than not, the attachment that we have and the stories that we have dictate whether it's a problem or not. For example, I find relationships and manifesting them quite easy. I've always had a internal story that when I meet someone, they're probably going to be interested in me or at least admire me. So sort of finding people that quote unquote have a crush on me has been very easy. And then putting that into relationships has also been quite easy. Now, of course, with the way that my relationship with Katie is, after today's video, I can sit there and say that my relationship mindset is very good. We're in a great place right now. Everything's great. And overall, I have a great relationship mindset. But money has always been a much bigger issue for me. Even now, while my money situation is the best it's ever been by far, the beginning of the month, I will always sort of sit there, but what if this is the month that I don't make it? And then I have to kind of overcome those thoughts, even to this day. Definitely much better at it. And it's not anything sort of that I have to deal with a lot, just kind of that little nagging thought in the back of my head. But money for me has always been, up until recently, a big problem. So I always found money and making it so much harder than getting into relationships or having people that kind of are interested in me. So that's why some things are easier to manifest than others. It's the stories that you have, it's the outcome dependency. Are you someone that just wears their heart on the sleeve and therefore needs someone to love you? There you go. That's probably one of the reasons why you struggle with relationships. Or are you someone that has always just had nothing materialistic as you grew up, and therefore you're constantly in search of money so you can finally live that, like that materialistic life? There you go. There's the need. That's why money may be a problem for you. So based on your comment, I can't say exactly what your problem is, but of course, that's what we'll go into in the one-to-one coaching. But that's generally the reason. The stories that we have internalized affect how well we're able to just stay calm and let things flow. Because that is essentially all manifestation is. It's residing within the end space and then just allowing it to happen to you. It's so much easier to reside within the end space when you already kind of have stories to back up those things. If you grew up in a rich household, you'd probably have better money mindset than growing up in a poor household, which is why those people, generally speaking, will find it quite easy to just make more money. If you grew up with a very loving family and they were all sort of like caring, they set boundaries, they were respectful, chances are you would end up having the same thing. So relationships might be a little bit of an easier thing for you. So it's all based on the stories and the way that we look at things. Vera says, I was calm, but now I'm not. So just one more thing to reiterate on that. I don't know if I did say it during my little explanation, but I think it would be beneficial to say now anyway. Going at it from a calm and collective state doesn't mean that you're going to get a good outcome. It just means that the outcome that you do get, in theory, would probably be better for you. Like the likelihood of it being better is higher. But additionally to that, you know that you're not creating more negative things further down the line. Of course, you said there, but now I'm not. I would highly recommend utilizing some kind of calming technique to get yourself back to a neutral playing field so that you can move past this situation, because it's not, as I always say in all of my videos, it's not what comes up that matters, it's where you take it. So you reached out, you was calm, great. Now you're not so calm because of what you've experienced, the way you reacted and such things. The fact that that's the case doesn't really matter. What does matter is, where do you take this? Okay, he didn't quite react how I wanted him to. So what? He's still my partner. So what? We're still in loving conversation. So what? He might be just having a bad day. He'll message me an apology later and be all over me. That's just the ideal way to go about it, because where you take things is what matters. Your subconscious mind has no concept of what is and isn't real. So use that to your advantage. Who gives a fuck if he's not responded the way that you want him to? It's all up here. I can't tell you the amount of times, and I know Katie's done this probably to me as well, but the amount of times that I've said something, Katie's either responded in like a way that I thought that was a bit unexpected of, or in a way that, well, I suppose same thing, caught me off guard. But in my head, I've gone, don't matter, and gone on with my day. And Katie can vouch for this if she wants to pop in and say anything right now, because she's just come back downstairs. But Katie and I very, very rarely bicker anymore. We very, very, very rarely argue. We very rarely have problems anymore. And I think it's because of that natural reaction of, okay, Matthew said this, or okay, Katie said this, a bit off of what I was expecting, but all good because we're still great together. We still have this, we still have that, and we just navigate past it. Bit of a strange example, but it's because I heard her coming down and I didn't know if she'd want to come and say hi or not. Did you want to come say hi?
Yeah, I can come say hi.
It's been a while since you guys have seen Katie in a live stream.
Hello. Hi.
The lighting's horrible.
Yeah, this lighting is horrible.
I've blinded myself.
Behind you.
That's fine.
Hello.
But yeah, that's why I use Katie as an example, so she can come vouch. Okie dokie. But yeah, so I can't remember where I was even going with that. But yeah, so it's where you take it. There's been so many times when Katie said something to me that I could have gone off on. Same thing as when we were together, I probably would have gone off on, which was what caused a lot of our problems, which I spoke about in today's video. But it's all about going, okay, I see what's happening, but this is where I'm going to take it. And that's how Katie and I have the best relationship that either of us have ever experienced. So take that on board with your situation. I know obviously our relationship is a little bit different to your conversation with him, but take the principles on board. Aki says, what is your opinion about being in contact with SP's mother, even though there is no contact with SP? I manifested contact with her. Maybe it has nothing to do with SP, but it can be related to SP manifestation. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I mean, similar to what I've said to Rena's, not Rena's question, Vera's question. Was it Rena's question at the beginning? No, it wasn't. No, it must have just been just Vera, unless I mentioned it in my explanation of Rena's question. What? No, I think it was just Vera's question. Anyway, I'm rambling. What goes on in the 3D does not matter. It's the mindset that you have regarding things. So the fact that you're in conversation with SP's mother means nothing towards your manifestation unless you assume it to. What I mean by that is it's not like it's a, oh, because I'm in contact, I'm pushing the 3D, I'm causing these problems, or so on and so forth. If you assume the best out of that situation, then you're going to get the best out of that situation. If you assume that being in contact with his mother is going to aid in your manifestation, then great. If you assume it does nothing, then great. If you assume it's causing you problems, it's not actually causing you problems. It's just that you're assuming that, which is why it's causing you problems. So from that moment, you want to catch that, become aware of it, claim it. Me and SP's mother being in contact makes it better. Or hell, you could even go so far as to say, I'm in contact with my partner's mother. We don't have to separate them as SP's mother and SP, my partner and his mother. It's these kind of little like tweaks that one could make for their journey that make all the difference. As I mentioned in my very first manifesto X-Pac video, one of the first points that I made was to change how you refer to them. So many people say stuff like my ex or my like ex-husband, my ex-wife, and XXXXX, and that's how they see them. They see them as their ex that they're trying to manifest back. Well, no wonder. If the literal way that you're referring to them is not my current partner, what do you think your submind is going to be taking in? So these little tweaks, they make all the difference. So I recommend making use of them. But to answer your question, no, I don't think it's a problem unless you assume it to be. Rena says, that makes sense. Thank you. Look forward to speaking in our one-to-one. Absolutely. We'll go deeper into the principles that I just spoke about and see if we can unearth them and most importantly, give you ways to go forward. Aki says, hey, God, she's cute. She is indeed. I'm quite lucky there. Rena says, hi, Katie. And then Rena says, how do you block out negativity from people in general? I feel like I've been super positive this year, focusing on my goals and manifestations. Sometimes people's comments do take my focus away. I think the best way, and this is based on my own experiences more than anything, so there might be other people that you could find that will have their own opinions on it. But for me, the best way was just building trust and confidence within myself. I think maybe at the beginning of my channel, if I had got like a negative comment, what I actually know, that's what I did do at the beginning of my channel. If I got a negative comment, is I would post it and sort of like essentially just say, look, this is what I got. Let's laugh at it. Let's all have a good time. And I think most of that was actually hiding behind a bit of a bravado. If I could kind of like post it and make fun of it, then maybe it won't affect me so much. Whereas now, if I get a negative comment, I'll either A, respond to it, or B, like in just a casual way, or B, just ignore it. Because over the years of working on myself, because of course everything is an improvement, just because I talk to you guys doesn't mean that I don't have more room to grow. But over the years of working on myself, building up the confidence, the self-assuredness, the self-security, now if I see a negative comment, I'll laugh at it like genuinely now. Like there'll be a few times when I said to Kayla, oh, I received this comment, and we'll just kind of have a little bit of a giggle about it, and it doesn't affect me anymore. And I think, and that's kind of how I operate with pretty much everything negative in my life at the moment. The only thing that do bring negativity to my life sometimes that like does actually get under my skin is when the kids misbehave. Oh, it drives me crazy. But in terms of like when my friends are being negative, or if Katie comes home sort of speaking about her bad day or things like that, I'm just like, oh, okay. Like I just don't let it get to me because I'm sort of self-assured within myself. And that was my biggest key to be able to let any negativity, both directed at me or just in my vicinity, be overcome. By being self-assured within yourself, you can have a war going on around you, but you can still walk forward with that confidence and calmness. And that for me all came from genuinely working on myself from a holistic standpoint, manifestation and self-improvement. Let me find where I was. Aki says it's not causing problems, but it's feeling that she can be connected to a positive outcome with SP. Now I could never call SP my ex. I really don't feel him as an ex. So, and then by the way, I don't know how to type. So if you are seeing that it doesn't cause a problem, and you also have a feeling that it can be connected to a positive outcome with SP, more power to you, because what you assume to be true will become true. So if that's how you're genuinely seeing the situation, then you have nothing to worry about and everything to gain. Keep focusing on it the way that you're focusing on it and let things flow. And then I could never call SP an ex. I really don't feel him as an ex. that's even better. The less you see someone as your ex and the more that you see them as your partner or something to that vein, the better off you'll be. Rena says, "Hi, you do such a great job at managing everything with the kids." I do my best. I do my best. There's definitely a lot of Katie doing her part to make up for the days when they're bad. Like, because obviously I got the business to take care of. I've got, and as you can probably imagine, being a life coach that is involved in manifestation, 90% of my emails are quite negatively fueled, i.e., like I've had this kind of day, or my specific person's done this, or I feel like this. So I do get generally a lot of negative coming at me from my client situations. And then obviously I like the kids, and I've got like deadlines with responding to emails, content, and all that kind of stuff. And Katie definitely does a very good job at keeping me on a level playing field with it all, even if it's just like making like one of my favorite meals, or just little things like that. Like it makes a big difference. It's small things, but it goes a long way. I don't think I'd be here still in terms of being here for you guys as consistently as possible as I am if I didn't have her in like the back pocket. And then Rena says, so just focus on yourself and not let the external get to you. Perfect. I overthink and just wobble. Sorry. I overthink and just think will wobble affect me. Need to not let it in. Either you can't type or I can't read. There was something about that paragraph that I could not get my head around. But yeah, no, that's absolutely the case. Focus on yourself. I mean, everything that you're experiencing happens through you anyway. So there's no point allowing anything externally to get to you any more than it has to. Now, obviously, I can sit here on my high horse and say that, but I have my things that trigger me too. But that is the best way to go about it. The more self-assured that you are, the less things will impact you. Over the years, I've gradually become more confident, gradually become more sort of stoic and sturdy. And if you were to take who I am now compared to who I was maybe 3-4 years ago, you will see an absolute massive difference. The tiniest things back then would have absolutely exploded, but now, big things don't even really affect me anymore. So I attribute all of that to working on myself and becoming self-assured. And then there's bonuses of it, of like Katie being there and, the business growing and such things. The more secure that you are, the better those little things can be. And then you also say, it's not you, I can't type. To be fair, I can't read also as evident. If you'll go back through all of my live streams, I stumble over myself all the time. So I think we can both take blame on that one. Ike says, anyway, SP's mum and him don't get along very much. Another question. Oh, that's a shame, but it happens. Another question, is it normal to want to spend more time inside my imagination? It feels better to be in a visualization in a 3D than 3D feels more real. I don't want to sound like I'm a mental hat. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like I do a lot of affirmations during the day. Katie likes to do her tarot stuff and her sort of witchcrafty stuffs, and like we spend on our side of things quite a lot of time doing some form of conscious creation work, which would be considered being in your imagination. And so I definitely don't think that there's anything wrong with it. The only time I ever think that being in your imagination is a problem is when you're neglecting general day-to-day needs. For example, like, and this is obviously a bit of an exaggerative example, but it's worth mentioning. But when the manifestation process, you spend so much time in it that you're not being hygienic, for example, or you're not going to work and therefore getting fired, and when it's actually genuinely affecting your life to a severe degree, you're becoming depressed, or you're cutting off people that are genuinely there for you in a healthy and effective manner and stuff. That's the only time that I think that being in your imagination is ever actually a problem. But other than that, your imagination creates your reality, therefore it's just being in a creative state all the time. Like I say, when I'm doing putting the clothes out on the washing line, I'll be doing some affirmations. When I drive to the shop, I do affirmations instead of listening to music if I'm on my own. Just stuff like that. So I'm in my imagination quite a lot as well. I'm always planning on what I'm going to do with my business and such things like that. It's still all variants of the imagination. So I definitely don't think it's a problem unless it's actually genuinely affecting how your life is at the moment, or at the present moment. Rena says, will you look to build manifestation step-by-step courses in the future, or do you think though these 6-week, 12-week courses aren't effective? If you're referring to the 6-week, 12-week ones that like other coaches make, which I'm assuming that is because I don't have one of those courses, it's meant to add step-by-step intensive courses. Yeah, so I've never actually had another manifestation coaches course. So I can't say whether or not it is effective because I've never seen the content that they've done. I've actually thought about buying one before just to see what kinds of things they do, not to obviously take for my own, but to just see what an LOA coach course is all about and what I could improve and bring new to the market. But I haven't done it yet. So I can't say for sure whether or not I think that those things are effective or not. I'd like to say that a 6 to 12 week course would be effective as a product. And I definitely think the course that I'm making for the Manifest Your Specific Person one, I think is going to be a um, very powerful course. I definitely think that because of the amount of detail that I'm going into it with, I genuinely think that once you purchase that course, you can unsubscribe from my channel because you'll never need me again. That's why it's taking me so long to get out, because I'm trying to make it as perfect as it can possibly be. So I think as far as it goes, yes, I think the courses are effective because as long as they teach you the principles and ways to make use of the principles, the rest is all down to you anyway. So I that's kind of my view on it. But I do plan to make I just saw an ad pop up just now. Haha, that's why I asked. Ad. What, on the live stream or something else? There shouldn't be ads on the live stream. I cut them off. Can you explain that? Because I double and triple checked this time as well. But anyway, as I was saying, I think the courses are effective if they're done right. Of course, if it's just a coach that's just said, just live in the end lol, then of course I don't think it's going to be very effective. But if it's one like I plan to do, I do think that they would be very effective. And I do plan on building more courses in the future for different things: business courses, general money courses, specific person courses, just all of that kind of stuff. I want to make it all. My answers have been a very bit like all round today. It's not been very concise. I've been a bit rambly. Apologies for that. Hope you don't mind. Ike says, well, I'm manifesting moving back in with SP and suddenly I'm having problems in my 3D apartment. They say that before the manifest something, but sometimes bad things happen, like give you closure to your old story. Is this the case? I definitely think it can be the case. Now, this is known as the purge if you're a Neville Goddard fan, or for me, I actually just prefer the quote, in order to create, one must first destroy. And it was either from Prometheus or Alien Covenant. I can't remember which one it was, but it was David, the robot, talking. But I prefer that quote more, just because I think it sounds cooler than just the purge. But anyway, how do I answer this without sounding like a dickhead? I think that it is absolutely possible. I also think if you assume that you only get your manifestations in good ways, then that's the way that it will be. Now, the reason why I say that is because I had something that happened in my life a few years ago that had me scouring the internet for answers, explanations. And this was when I was involved in the law of assumption, but was still kind of like somewhat learning it. Somewhat. And I remember scouring all over the internet, and all I could find was, purge this, purge that. It's the purge. Neville Goddard's the purge. This person says it's the purge. It's got to be the purge. And I was like, okay, that makes me feel a little bit better, because obviously it's stating that I'm going to get my manifestation, assuming that I push through. But then I kind of realized whether or not it's a purge, that's the case anyway. If you continue to persist, you get your desire. Persist until it hardens into fact is another Neville Goddard term. So then I realized, why is the purge even something that people have to specifically say persist anyway, considering you should be doing that anyway? You shouldn't need to know whether it is the purge or the Sabbath state to continue going. And then I kind of operated under the basis of, well, what I assume to be true, it will become true. So if I only assume that I receive my desires in positive ways and the purge isn't a thing that actually exists, then I'll never have to experience it, right? And then I started toying around with that mindset. And honestly speaking, as far as I can sort of think back, I've not had an instance since then where I've actually felt like things are falling apart in order to create my outcome. I've either just had things gradually get better or just turnarounds where it's like, massive thing here. The only times that I can say that things haven't gone in a desired way is when I just haven't been focusing on them in a desired way, not because I've been doing so well and then it's purged. Which is why I said, how do I answer this without being a dickhead? It absolutely could be the purge, but I think you could actually do better for yourself by beginning to assume that things only come to you in positive ways. Because once you do that, then you don't have to worry about a purge. And then you'll know that if something negative does start to happen, you just need to tweak your mindset a little bit more and obviously keep going. But based on sort of your thoughts about it. I would say this is a good sign. I definitely would say you can see it as a purge, and it's a good sign. And then Rena says, I just saw an ad pop up just now. That's why. Oh, that's to do with the course. And then Ike says, Rena, it was a glitch to Matrix. Absolutely. So many people recommend that I change my name to Mind Over This Matrix and put like the extra T. And it's like I like the principle and the idea, but it just looks too goofy for me. Rena says, no, not on your live stream. All good. It was an ad that popped up on my Instagram. I'm watching a live stream on my laptop. Oh, I see. Okay, cool. It's because I think it was either the last stream or the stream before. There was ads and people were quite annoyed about it. And I was quite annoyed about it because I was like 90% certain that I'd turned them off. So I'd like triple check this time. But I've never actually used ads for my content or for my courses or anything like that. I've thought about it because obviously everyone raves about how paid ads get you so much like extra, but I don't actually need to. Like I've had no problem bringing in viewers and clients and stuff without ads. Now that obviously could be the case that ads would make it explode even more, but just something I haven't toyed around with yet. One final note though, I'm playing with liar. I am looking forward to when I get the courses and stuff done because it gives me another thing to do as competitions and discounts. There's only so many times that you can say, hey, my services are on discount before people kind of go, well, yeah, but I've already got them on discount before or whatever. So I'm looking forward to when I do the courses so that I'll have more things to say, hey, instead of just constantly putting my coaching on discount, here's this other thing that's discounted. Here's this other thing that can be on a competition. So I'm looking forward to all of that. Ike says, I didn't want to actually say that I'm purging, but I have been feeling crappy lately, haha, and I've been affirming even stronger. I nap in the afternoon, rampage robotic affirmations, and I also affirm that I only manifest good stuff and only good things happen to me. Okay, well, that's a very good positive, like, way to go about it. Just one thing that I will say, and this is more of a food for thought kind of thing, is not to get to a point of obsession. Now, this is based on my own experiences, and you're more than welcome to not take it if it doesn't resonate and just kind of keep doing what you're doing. But I've had instances in the past where something has happened and I've kicked into overdrive because I'm trying to like outfight this thing and felt more anxious within myself while doing it. And I felt like when I was feeling more anxious within myself because I was trying to outfight this thing, I actually ended up doing worse by myself. Not necessarily worse results, but I just didn't enjoy the process of doing it as much. Therefore, I would recommend that as long as it's if it's enjoyable for you to do it the way that you're sort of talking about there and increasing the work and stuff, then great, more power to you. But for me personally, I don't like to kick it into overdrive when it's in that kind of instance because I find that I actually get more anxious. I'll actually take the opposite route and actually try to relax more and do less work to let my mind take a little bit of a break and then get back into it when I feel a little bit better. That's more just food for thought as opposed to this is what you should do, but it's worth mentioning. And then you say, I do set my brain on fire sometimes. Yeah, it's part of the process, I think. I think we all go through that time when we're like, oh, the more we do, the better, right? And then it just ends up frying you and you just feel miserable. I remember those days. I'm so glad I got out of them. So glad I got out of them. Rena says, any really good client examples or from herself from the past week without delivering specifics that got you smiling? Actually, quite a few. Now, let me so there was the one, and I noticed it because I like to watch back through my videos just to make sure that I don't make a mistake. But there was actually one that I posted in today's video right at the end. I said, here's a success story or a movement success from someone who did the 10-minute call that was on the gold membership. And I'm reading it right now. It says, mate, I got movement. I got movement. The affirmations you gave me were 100% working. We will succeed, Matthew. Thank you. You are a legend. Now, the reason why that one made me smile is because I did the 10-minute call with them last week, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was like last Tuesday, maybe last Wednesday. And since then, they'd continued to try and do the work and such, but since then they mentioned that they were kind of concerned about things like why do other people get such quick movements, just the general sort of questions, I suppose you could say. And then I answered them. I gave them an explanation. They were like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. You know what? I'm gonna do this. Can I pull up their thing?" They said, mate, you know, you're totally right. State is everything in my own journey so far. I would say these three things are most important. And it listed a few things. And it basically gave me, I'm going 100% in on this today, mate. Be ready for a massive success story. And then literally the day after that, they were like, mate, I got movement. I got movement. The affirmations you gave me are 100% working. We will succeed, Matthew. Thank you. You are a legend. So that one made me quite happy because it was one of those instances where, you know, due to the questions and due to the sort of doubts on their side, it could have gone either way. but they, based on my response, they then went, you know what, you're right, I'm going to smash this. And then literally the day after, they sent me a thing saying that they got movement, and they were clearly quite excited about it. So that's one that I really like. There's another one, and this is from my scripting thing, scripting service. I've been working with her for a few weeks, but over the course of a few weeks, it's been getting better and better and better and better and better. And let me read the most recent email that they sent me. I've literally just opened it this second to use as a reference point. Hi, Matt. I just want to share my new wallpaper. This gives me the image and feeling that I'm walking down the aisle. It's to do with marriage, and it's a specific person dressed up in a suit. We had a great conversation last night for 3 hours. Thank you for my script today. I love it. Now, that's just the most recent email. I didn't know what it was going to say, but obviously clearly quite positive. But then if I go back through our email chain, let me try and find one where they speak about how amazing it is. I'm going to guess this one's a really good one because of the way it starts. Matt, you deserve millions of subscribers. You're such a big help to us. My script today is amazingly beautiful. Today I was scrolling, today I was scrolling through YouTube Shorts and I saw a video of a guy crying because his girlfriend proposed to him. That got me thinking I don't think this is really to do with the actual thing. Let me see if there's further down. Oh yeah, further down that email says, I'll purchase another 8 more scripts from you. I'm seeing so much difference with his communications. It's more calm and sweet. He's more attentive. And marriage has been coming out of his words, and it's crazy how his energy towards me has changed. So there's just 2 that I literally just opened up off rip to use as reference points that I quite like. And there's loads more as well. Like I said earlier on in the live stream, I don't really post my successes because I prefer to post information and like, here's how you can make it work for you. But I got tons in the bag. I've got so many success stories from the 10-minute calls, clients, the scripting service. I had one, I don't know if you could deem this as a success story, and it's going to bug me, I can't remember the name, but basically I sent them the letting go of resentment worksheet because they were really struggling with it. And they basically came back saying it completely changed the way that they were seeing the whole situation and their perspective and everything. So I have successes and positive feedback from all kinds of angles. I had so much that I could post. Oh, drop something. But I prefer to post the information. Here's how you can make it work for you, just because I want to help as many people as possible. But that's why at the sort of earlier on in the call, I mentioned that I was thinking about making like a lifetime membership group thing that has more. And in that, I will just post every success story I get as soon as I get it. And obviously other bonuses as well. But that all I need to work on. Rena says, amazing. I need to watch that video straight after this. Yes, please do. It's one talking about my journey with Katie a little bit more in depth, so that you guys can get a little bit more information on that. How's it doing? It's almost at 1,000 views already, which is great. Obviously, like and comment on any of my videos. It really does make a massive difference. And then you say, I love the positivity. That made me smile. Good. Well, I'm glad to help. Ike says, I was never a person who wanted to get married. A few weeks ago, watching Queen Charlotte, I don't know if it was a shift. I suddenly said to myself, I want to marry SP. And I was like, what? Lol. Now I see movies or series where people are getting married and suddenly got in touch with a friend who plans weddings events. Well, take that all as positive signs. I even had a little conversation with my mother about the other day about marriage. So there's another little addition to your marriage sign. Although my mum and I didn't quite agree on the conversation that we were having, but that's fine. We come from very different mindsets when it comes to certain things. So, but who knows? Was I against marriage or was she? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Matt. Exclamation mark. I'm trying to see if that's how you spell exclamation mark. It doesn't look right, but I also can't think of what it would be instead. Anyway, ha ha ha. I don't know what that means. And you say, I don't know how to spell, you know that. Yeah, but I also don't know how to read, so we could both be wrong. I can read perfectly fine when it's in my head, but as soon as it comes to reading out loud in these live streams, I just can't do it. That's why I've never used a teleprompter for any of my videos as much as I would like to, because I know that I just end up fucking up more than if I just didn't do it. Rena says, haha. And then Ike says, oh, let's team up. We'd be an awful team. We wouldn't do anything. We'd create new words because we'd be so bad at spelling real ones. I'm debating. I know, right? Yeah, for sure. I'm debating whether or not to let this video be posted as a video, like this live stream, because it's not been the most fluent in terms of my responses. I've been quite rambly. What do you guys think? Do you reckon it's been good enough for other people to find value in, or do you reckon? Oh, wrong side. The camera's always the wrong side, and it throws me off. Or do you reckon I should just let you guys keep this one as just a live stream and then I don't know, not post it? There's 5 people in here, but only 2 people are like commenting. So, oh, wrong side. Fucking camera. So what are the other 3 doing? Why are you not saying anything? Oh, here we go. Vera says, some say that when you don't care about SP, then he comes. What do you think, and how much time should I wait until wait to show in 3D? It's been long. So I actually did do a short on this, which I recorded today, which I'll be editing and posting over the next couple of days. Maybe I'll make it tomorrow just for more people that might be having this concern. I think that the reason why the idea that when you don't care, that's when you get your person works is because of the release of attachment. I don't think it's necessarily that you have to get to a point of not caring to then get your manifestation, as in not caring about your person. But I think the idea of being outcome independent, or it is what it is, or just allowing things to flow, that makes such a massive difference. And I will say that I have seen a lot of instances where people have been like, you know what, I've been doing all of this work, but I've had enough now. I'm calling it quits. And then like a month later or something like that, they've then commented and said, oh, hey, I actually ended up getting my success once I released the attachment. That's when he came in. And I think the way that I picture this in my head, now, whether or not this is exactly how it works, I don't know. This is just kind of the way that my mind pictures it. I see it like your manifestation is like a flowing river or a stream or something like that, just flowing along nicely. And then when you get attached, that's like slamming a dam right in the way of it. You've got all of this amazing work that you've been doing, building and building and building, but you've built a dam so it can't go anywhere. It just gets stuck. When you detach from the outcome, when you stop caring, when you just say it is what it is, you remove that dam. And all of a sudden, all of that work that you've been doing, because your subconscious mind is a store of information, comes flooding in. And that's why people tend to get their results after they've given up. Now, like I said, I don't think you need to get to a point of giving up to get these kind of successes, because I never gave up with Katie. I never gave up with my money manifestations. I never gave up with my home manifestations. I just got to a point where I was content if it didn't change. So instead of saying, I don't want this anymore, or fuck it, I don't care, it was if it doesn't change, I'm good. That was the release of attachment. That was the removal of the dam that I needed, which is what's allowed me to get this house, which is what's allowed me to get my relationship and my increase in business sales and such things like that. So I would take that more into consideration as opposed to not caring, because I know the idea of not caring scares a lot of people. Think of it more as being outcome independent. And that's why I always advocate making your present moment as good as it can be, because the more content you are with the present moment, the less you need it to change in order to get a desire. And if you don't need it to change, there's no outcome dependency, there's no blockage. As for your other point, would you think about how much time I should wait to show in the 3D? I think you should wait as long as it takes, as long as it's not becoming detrimental for you. Now, I was asked this question earlier by either a client or a comment, I can't remember, but it was essentially saying, like, when do you know when to just give up? And for me, my manifestations, whenever I give up, it's because pursuing that desire has become a bigger detriment to me, my health, my mental health, than I actually think it's worth it for having it. The reward for receiving this desire no longer outweighs the pain or the frustration or the exhaustion of trying to manifest it. Now, of course, where I'm at in my journey now, I don't ever really get like that. I don't get exhaustion. I don't get these kinds of things. In fact, sometimes I even say to Katie, hey, we should do some more bits because, it's great and, I want to do more. But when I was kind of trying to find my footing within manifestation, my terms and conditions were always for as long as the reward of getting this desire outweighs the process of getting this desire, I'll keep going. The second that that balance flips, that's when I give up because I don't want to lose myself in this process. And just because we can manifest something doesn't mean that we should force ourselves to do so. If you're losing yourself in the process, either take a break or let it go, because you don't want to miss out on these days, and you don't want to miss out on these days being in the worst mindset, depressed, upset, anxious, because then you're not living for yourself, you're letting someone else live for you, essentially. That's kind of like my basis. Ike says, I have hairspray. To be honest, I think I'd look really weird with hairspray because it would make it all weird. Oh, fucking wrong side again. It's because the camera flips it, so I keep looking at the camera to adjust my hair as opposed to just muscle memory. I thought I'd be talking about hairspray on a live stream. Rena says, I think your responses have been great and easy to follow. Thank you very much. Ike says, I find this video very helpful. Thank you very much. I'll probably just let it post. I'll probably change the title to be a bit more clickbaity. Like, instead of just saying manifestation Q&A, I'll do something like, I don't know, some of the questions that you've asked, when to give up and that kind of stuff.
Or you could be like hairspray to manifest.
Yeah, just play on the hairspray part. Rena says that's actually a really good analogy. Thank you very much. Analogies have always been my strong suit. I don't think there's anyone else in this game that's better at analogies than I am in terms of LOA coaches. And then Rena says, attachment is that blocker in your path to receiving your manifestation. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Becoming detached and outcome independent is one of the biggest things you can do for yourself. It's why I introduced the why would I care method. Now, I actually got a lot of flack for that why would I care method video ages ago. People were like, oh, it doesn't make sense. It contradicts and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, just try it. Just give it a go. And I shit you not, about 3-4 months in, I had about 10 different people say, you know what? I didn't like that video when you posted it. It actually made me feel quite anxious. But actually, upon trying it, I now see what you're talking about. It makes a massive difference. And I was like, see, I don't talk this stuff because I'm like chatting out my ass. I talk based on what I make use of. And sorry, I was reading one of the comments. Yeah, I talk about what I make use of. I talk about what works for me. All of my experiences, unless I state otherwise, all of the things I talk about, unless I state otherwise, are from my own experience. So when I say the why would I care method is a great method, I'm not just saying it to try and get clicks. I'm saying it because it works for me, you know? Karen says, what video? I can't remember the exact video because it was over a year ago now. It was when I was living in the old home, and it was, I don't even know. I can't even remember the time scale. I'll try and find it while I'm responding to the other questions. And if I can, I'll post a link or I'll just let you know. But it was essentially a video talking about becoming indifferent to the outcome. And one of the ways that I did it for myself was when something bothered me, instead of letting it bother me, I'd say, why would I care about that? Why would I care if Katie didn't message me? Why would I care? And it put me in this kind of like self-empowered position. Ike says, oh, is she awake? Oh, shit. Ike says, I have a delicate question, if you may. It's about tarot. I used to follow it a lot. Isn't tarot reading just another kind of reflection of your fears or your state at the moment? Because I got a tarot reading in January when I still believed in it, and it showed SP has a 3P. I never saw it in the 3D. It was just reflected in the cards. So Katie would be better to answer this, but she's just gone upstairs because the baby's just woken up. But yeah, tarot reading essentially is a reflection of your internal state. So if you receive something sort of negative, there's some part of your internal state that is projecting that negative out to be read. Same thing for positive. If you get a positive reading, there's some kind of your internal state that is projecting outward to get that positive outcome. So the way that tarot reading should be made use of is either as a fuel for your fire or B, a lesson to be learned. It's never you're guaranteed to receive this negative or positive outcome. It's if you carry on in this path, this is the likely outcome. So if you receive something negative, okay, clearly I'm focusing too much on a 3P or whatever it is. Now I'm going to stay vigilant of my thinking to be able to shift them and focus on something else. If you receive a good reading, okay, I'm going to get my person based on this reading if I keep doing what it is that I'm doing. You can't expect to get a good reading and then start thinking like crap and expect that reading to come into fruition. But you also can't expect to have a good reading and then not change anything about it. It's a learning curve. Let me find where I was. Rena says Katie's tarots are amazing. I've purchased a few times and she is crazy accurate. Yeah, I think that her readings are one of the best in the game. Not only does she go into more detail than I've seen other readers do, but yeah, like you say, she's always crazy accurate. She said things like to do with me before And as some of you may have known previously, before Katie started really doing tarot readings, I was quite skeptical of tarot readings. And she's done them on me over the time, and she's genuinely convinced me that they are very accurate and very much something to listen to if you can take the good lessons from them. Because she's always just pulled out like the things that I either hadn't mentioned out loud, or things that upon her pulling out, I was like, oh yeah, I have been thinking of that, or oh yeah, I can see that, and yeah, I recommend them too. Aiki says, then I almost set my room on fire with a candle. After that, I hired your 10-minute call. Lol. I just said and say to myself that it was a lie, old story, not true. Well, obviously, you don't want to be setting your room on fire with a candle, so be careful with that. But yeah, of course, you just don't. If it's a negative reading, negative readings are still good readings because it means that you have a clear path if you continue down. So make the necessary adjustments. That's kind of like saying, you're going down a path and you're like, where the fuck am I? And then a sign says, continue that way and you'll get to destination B. But you're like, oh, destination A was the other way to destination B. Cool. Let me just go that way then. It's like, it's a learning curve. It's letting you know you veered slightly off the path, get back on it. Vera says, what percentage of success stories you have for manifesting an SP? Before I answer that, can you just confirm, do you mean what percentage of my clients that were manifesting a specific person got their successes? Or do you mean what percentage of my success stories overall are specific person compared to job or career or whatever? If you could just confirm that. Rena says, I couldn't recommend Katie highly enough. She was super informative and her guidance was super useful in mirroring guidance from Matt, which was working towards my manifestation. Thank you very much for the kind words about Katie's tarot. I'll be sure to let her know afterwards. Aiki says, I actually don't believe what the tarot reader told me. A week earlier, I bumped into SP. Well, of course, if you don't even believe what they say, then more power to you. I suppose you can just brush it off, really, independent to the outcome. Vera says, your client. So it's a difficult thing to state for a various number of reasons. Reason one, some people, they just go off and do their thing, and then they either get the manifestation or they don't, and they do or they don't. Oh, hang on, you say your clients that want to manifest SP, what percentage? Yeah. So there's been people, so there's a few variables that we'd have to consider here. And obviously, as you know, I always like to go into depth on stuff instead of just giving a boring, plain answer. So yeah, we'll make it what we will. But there's a few variables. One, there's people that just don't get back in touch with you. So whether they got the success or not, some people just enjoy living their life with their new person and don't even think to get back in touch with you. So there's that variable. There's also the other variable of sometimes people come wanting one person, but upon working on their self-concept and improving their beliefs and such things, they then end up finding someone else that they think is even better and go for them, which to me would still be a success story. But obviously some people would be like, but they didn't get the person they came for. So again, you have to go considering off that. We then have to consider the people that are still working on their manifestation. Because of course, it's always, I haven't manifested them yet, not I didn't manifest them. So there's people that haven't got them yet, but they're still in the process of working on it. And then of course, there's people that did get the success. So I think if we combine the first two factors, so let's just say 50% of people that go off succeed, but they don't let me know, and then the other 50 go off and don't succeed and don't let me know. And then we consider people going for a new person, even though they came for a different person initially as a success, and then obviously people that got the success. I would say the success rate of my clients is anywhere between about 60 to 75%. The rest of them are either people that just haven't succeeded yet or gave up and just didn't even bother succeeding at all, sort of thing. That's an estimation. I've worked with a lot of people, so it's very hard for me to say specifically, but that's a rough estimation. Aiki says, I mean, I never saw him with anyone, so it's not true. After that, I decided to leave all that and focus on what I actually want. And it's funny because sometime before that, I got a reading telling me I was going to get my manifestation. Take them as learning curves. That's the best thing that we can do about it. Rena says, sorry, Matt, have to dash. Not a problem at all. I hope you had a good time here and hopefully have a good evening. And then you say, or day, whatever it is for you there. And you say, but I shall catch up on the video you've posted. Awesome. I hope you enjoy it. And then Aiki says, bye, Rena. Thanks for saying bye. I am actually going to end this stream here, though. I know it's 5 minutes earlier than usual, but I can hear that the baby's getting a bit restless, and I just want to make sure that Katie's doing okay. I don't like to just leave her to deal with it without at least asking if she wants me to leave her to deal with it. So I am going to end the stream here. It's only 5 minutes less, so it's not the end of the world. But if you guys do have any other further questions, by all means, just comment them once the live stream's gone live to everyone for everyone to see. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being part of the membership. And I look forward to speaking to you guys soon in upcoming live streams, as well as any coaching, video calls, anything like that. But thank you all for for being here. And I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.